Hi guys, hope you're all well. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the cosmic blueprint of evolutionary astrology. So I'm going to be taking you through another one of my composite charts that I prepared earlier. Now, I just want to mention, if you do want to understand about some of the archetypes that I'm talking about, then go and have a look at my previous videos, because I do take you through the houses of the natal chart and of the zodiac wheel. And that will sort of explain to you about the resident planets that belong in each of the 12 houses. So again, if you want some clarification around that, I'm trying to keep these videos fairly succinct because astrology is very exhaustive. There's a lot of information, so it can be quite convoluted. So if you do want to understand some of the primary characteristics that I'll be talking about, then definitely go and have a look at my previous videos that I've posted on the channel. Okay, so first thing I want to start with is the different hemispheres. Okay, so obviously we have north and south hemisphere and east and west hemisphere. So this line along here, this vertical line along here, is the meridian. Okay, and that separates the MC from the IC. So your midheaven from your IC. Okay, so your midheaven is basically anything that happens above that line, so the northern hemisphere. So that sort of talks to your outer world and how your outer world plays out in a more sort of public way. So this is the ascendant and the descendant. So when we talk about our rising sign, that's our first house. Okay, so that speaks to our first house archetype, our first house of self and ego. And our self and ego is the characteristics and the personality that we purvey and convey unto the world. Okay, and then we have the quadrants. So the quadrants are basically separated into 4 quadrants, all right? So 3 houses would be in each of those quadrants, all right, because there's 12 houses all up. Now with the resident planets, as I mentioned, I do talk about the resident planets, I think, in my first video, okay? But I wanted to talk a little bit about what's called dispositive planets. Now, a dispositive planet is when a planet that isn't in its resident house falls into another house. So for example, I'm going to use the Sun and Aries first house as my example for this video. So if we were to have Aries in the first house, Aries is ruled by Mars. So Mars is the resident planet of the first house, of Aries' first house of self and ego. If the Sun was in the first house, that would be considered a dispositor planet, okay? The Sun is also exalted. You also have exalted planets, so planets that can fall in a house that isn't their resident house, but they become exalted. So what happens is the characteristics of those planets and of those houses become amplified. So the Sun is our first, it's not a planet, but it's our first celestial body in our orbit. So it's exalted when it's in Aries, because Aries is our first house in the zodiac wheel. So I hope that makes sense. So the Sun is all about power, it's all about self-expression, and Aries is all about aggression and passion and action and pragmatism. So you can see how those two energies would merge and align to create a more primal energy. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If there's any questions, please drop them in the comments below. So we also just wanted to touch on a little bit about what we call, sorry, I've just had a brain fart, intercepted houses. So an intercepted house is when one of the houses gets swallowed up by another house. Okay, so for example, if we had Aries, the first house, and the line that separates the first and the second house is basically just becomes null and void. So this first house takes up the second house as well. That's what's called an intercepted house. So that can happen. So it basically means that 2 out of the 12 houses will be swallowed up by that one house. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments below. I really do want to talk about the quadrants and the energies that they convey when it comes to astrology, evolutionary astrology, and how it plays out in our lives, in the evolution of our lives. But I will leave that for another video because, like I said, I do want to keep it quite succinct because I understand that it can be quite convoluted talking about astrology because there is a lot of information. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you on the next video. Please like, share this video, and also subscribe to my channel if you're interested in finding out more about astrology, evolutionary astrology. Okay guys, thanks so much. KLB out. Bye.